Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So right now is not the time to be sober. I'm going to be focusing on this live stream, the main part of it anyway, on the HANTAVIRUS. And I'm just calling it right now. I think this is coming. That's my, my opinion, speculation. Now, there's a few data points why I'm saying that this is coming. And I've actually done some research into this ship, where it's docked, how long it's been at sea, the people that it's interacted with. I've also done some research on HANTAVIRUS as well, and I'm going to tell you guys what I found out. Now, I will be quite clear, right? I do guns, bombs, tanks, trains, planes, automobile, and geopolitics. And I am a little bit savvy with the media as well. And look at the way the media are now reporting on this HANTAVIRUS. So before we get on to this, ladies and gentlemen, if you could do me a real big favor and hit those buttons down below, like, comment, subscribe, the bell notification, and all those buttons that really help me out. So let's begin. Let's begin with what we know so far, and then I'll tell you guys about HANTAVIRUS. And I've even got some infographics that I've knocked up for you guys. So let's pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. There is an outbreak at the moment of something called HANTAVIRUS, and this one is ringing alarm bells. It's ringing huge alarm bells on Raven's radar. Raven's radar is flashing red, and I don't like it when Raven's radar is flashing red. The World Health Organization has just confirmed that HANTAVIRUS has hit a Dutch cruise ship called MV Hondius. 3 passengers have already died, and for the first time, they're openly talking about human-to-human transmission on board. This gets worse. Normally, this virus comes from rodents, but on this ship, crossing the Atlantic from Antarctica and now anchored off Cape Verde, it appears to have spread between close contacts because guess what? There's no rodents on that ship. There's 7 cases so far, 2 are confirmed, 5 suspected, 2 crew members, 1 British and 1 Dutch are being medically evacuated with acute respiratory systems. A British national was already evacuated to South Africa, and there are still 149 people from 23 countries trapped on that ship. Can you, including 22 British, can you imagine that? That's like a horror film, right? Netflix are doing this, guys. I promise you, Netflix are doing this. Images from the vessel show workers in full hazardous material suits. Testing is underway. The World Health Organization say the risk to the general public is currently low, but I've heard that before. I'm going to come on to what actually HANTAVIRUS is, and why I think I think the cat's already out the bag, guys. I do. I think the cat is already out the bag. So here's what should be worrying now if you live in the United Kingdom. Although this virus seems, allegedly for entertainment purposes, contained at the moment on a single ship in the middle of the Atlantic, this feels exactly verbatim like the beginning of COVID-19, where the world had no idea what was coming, a strange new illness, a handful of cases, reassurance that it's under control, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then the dominoes started to fall. This HANTAVIRUS, it causes severe respiratory failure and has a high fatality rate. Now, we've seen possible person-to-person transmission because that's what they're saying has happened on a confined cruise ship packed with people from all over the world. We've been here before. Ships have had super spreaders in the past. British citizens on board with international travel still wide open. One leak could change everything very quickly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you some videos from, hang on, is it that one? Yeah, let me share this video with you. I've got quite a few bits to share with you guys.
A number of passengers on board a cruise ship have died and others have become extremely sick with suspected hantavirus. Here's what you need to know. The cruise ship, the MV Hondius, is carrying about 150 passengers and was traveling between Argentina and Cape Verde when passengers fell ill. The ship is currently outside the port of Praia, the capital, Cape Verde. To protect the local population, passengers are not allowed to disembark here. Hantavirus is a rodent-borne virus and is part of a family of zoonotic viruses. That's diseases that can be passed from animals to humans. So how does the virus spread? The virus starts off contained in rodent feces, urine, or saliva. Infected particles become airborne, and these can be breathed in by humans.
Are we starting to see a pattern, guys? Look, honestly, I'm not going to go down a conspiracy lane here. But are you guys seeing similarities here? This is why I think this is coming. I do. I think this is coming. The way the media are reporting on this, I think this is coming.
Initial symptoms are very similar to flu-like symptoms.
Flu-like symptoms, again, flu-like symptoms.
Including muscle aches, fever, headache, and coughs. These can later develop into a serious infection of the lung or the kidneys, leading to organ failure. The incubation period, that's the time from infection.
Pay attention, pay attention.
To when the first symptoms appear, is somewhere between 1 to 8 weeks, but usually around 2 to 4 weeks. In extremely rare cases, the disease can be spread from human to human. Although there are antivirals that can help to manage symptoms, there is no cure for hantavirus. Viral outbreaks on cruises are not uncommon, but it's rare to have one that is so potentially dangerous. Officials are still working out how and where the passengers became infected and if all of them are sick.
So that's the main thing there. How did these passengers get infected? Because I think this cat's already out the bag. So if you guys remember then, just, what he just said there. Excuse me. So just some key facts that he touched on, and then I've got a little, I've got a little infographic I shared up from you guys. So you mainly breathe it in, right? So it's like, and it's airborne. They're saying it's not easily person-to-person transmissible. However, that's what they think's happened on the ship, right? So if lots of people are getting sick on the ship, to me, that says that that's how it must be getting transmitted, right? Because if it's not very easily transmitted by air to air, how else would it be transmitted on that ship if there's no rodents, right? Now, the incubation period of this of hantavirus is between 1 to 8 weeks after exposure. So what that means is you can catch it, on the 1st of April, and you're not going to show signs until 2 months after, potentially. Now, if we work that out and think how long this ship's, this is like, if you wanted to infect as many people as you could, you would literally put that on a cruise ship, wouldn't you? Because the cruise ship's going around from place to place to place to place. They're stopping, they're getting off, they're mixing with the local population, they're spreading, they're coming back on, there's more spreading. I think, look, guys, I'm not going to, I think as if this was a delivery system, you couldn't go much, that would be a good way to do it for a delivery system, right? Now, this actual ship, hang on. Yeah, I've done infographics for you guys. So this ship, this is the trajectory of the ship. So on the 1st of April, this ship left Argentina, right? So people could have literally been infected in Argentina and not shown signs until now, right? Because that's only just over a month. And from what we just said, it can take up to 8 weeks to show symptoms. So they could have been infected in Argentina. They could have been infected in South Georgia. They could have been infected in Gough Island. They could have been infected in Tristan da Cunha. They could have been infected in St. Helena. They could have been infected in the Ascension Islands. Or let's flip that a little bit, because if we're saying there's an 8-week incubation period, the people could have, the people on the ship when they flew into Argentina to get to get on the cruise, they could have then infected people in Argentina. They could have infected people in Georgia, in Goffstown, in Tristan da Cunha, in St. Helena, in Ascension Islands. So I think the cat's already out the bag. I really do. I do. I think the cat's already out the bag. There are too many question marks. There's too many question marks now, and I do think the way the media are reporting this, the way that the way that they're saying, the way that they're saying that this is transmitted, it's just all adding to that that direction of travel, whereby I feel it. This is already happening now. So let's see this video.
And they are doing some decontamination. The recommendation is for people to remain in their cabins. Obviously, that's not very pleasant for everyone for a long period of time. We understand, plenty of food, plenty of water on board. So people are being fed, and they are doing some decontamination on board, disinfection in the cabins themselves. So we've asked about any rats on board. We've been told there are no rats on board.
So if there's no rats on board, how is this being transmitted, right? There's no other way it can be. Look, guys, I'm just doing Raven logic, right? I'm doing Raven logic. I'm analyzing the information that we get. Look, whether there are rats on board or not, whether there are mice on board or not, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, because they're telling us that there's not. So if you guys are new to the channel, one thing I always say is that, the reality doesn't matter. It's the perception of that reality. So if they're all coming out and saying, no, there's no rats on this ship, it's a perfectly clean ship, no rats, no mice. We've got 2 cats called Molly and Jinx. That's setting up the, that's the setup, right? So the setup, so everybody thinks, oh, remember, soft disclosure. So everybody's thinking now, oh, right, okay, well, there's no mice, no rats on that island. Well, what could it be? Oh, it must be human to human transmission. Oh, and then you look through all the places that they've been.
So there are lots of different things that are happening.
Absolutely. Lots of different things that are happening, guys. And I'm calling it right now. I do think that, listen, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I don't think I am, obviously, or I wouldn't be saying it. I think this is gonna, everybody's been saying, right, about the next pandemic, when the next pandemic comes, when this happens. Now the question is to everyone, how deadly is it going to be? How deadly is this going to be? Is it going to be deadly? Are we all going to be, are we all going to be forced now? Think about it, right? Think about it in the United Kingdom, okay? You have been, okay, think about this, right? So you're in the United Kingdom right now. We have, just bear with me, guys, because this may be a conspiracy. I may start going down that road now. I think I am. I'm going down that road, right? So let's just say that over the last 12, 18 months, for example, that small businesses, independent employers have been absolutely destroyed. So many of them have gone out of business, right? Let's just say that. So let's just say that happened, right? Forcing a lot of those people onto claiming unemployment benefits, right? Okay. And then you've got the big companies now who are still operating, right? So you've got your BlackRock and your huge companies now. Okay, so let's just say now, totally wild scenario, right? Let's just say that the hantavirus hits the United Kingdom, right? Oh no, we all have to have a lockdown, and the scientists, they're working so hard, these scientists, to find a vaccine. Let's just say that happens. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And they're working so hard, these scientists, like really hard. You know, they're working 4-hour days. You know, they're only having an hour lunch break. It's real hard for them. And then there's a cure. They find a cure. Oh my God, it's fantastic. But no, there's a cure. Fantastic. Right, come on, everybody, come and have your cure. And then people are like, yeah, about that. I'm actually good. I'll wait see how things pan out. Oh, well, if anybody's claiming unemployment money, unemployment benefits, you know, we need everybody in. So if you're claiming unemployment benefits, we're gonna, you know, you're not, and you don't have the medication, we're gonna turn that off, right? We're gonna stop your dependence on that. Maybe. Big companies, big corporations, yeah, we're not going to employ anyone unless they've had this. Very soon you get a lot of people doing this because, like, you know, there's that. This is how and this is how you control those people to make, you know, you use that universal basic income to control them. So, you know, think about it, right? So people say that, and this is wild conspiracy, right? Okay, think Raven maths, right? Raven maths. Let's say that people say that, you know, the country can't afford universal basic income. You can with modern monetary theory, which basically means they're just going to print more money. You know, however, let's just say that somebody's worked out, right, okay, over the space of 10 years, that one person is going to cost me, I don't know, whatever amount of £1,000, right? If we tell that one person they're going on universal basic income for 1 year, they're going on universal basic income, and then they expire after 1 year, we've actually saved a load of money, right? You see how that works? That's obviously wild conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolute wild conspiracy. Right, let me just refresh this and see if there's been any updates on the hantavirus. Oh, there has. Hang on. Right, hang on. So there's a new video out. Hang on, let me just click this. Give me a second. Right, hang on. I'll share. I've not seen this video, guys. There's a new video out about the hantavirus. Let me share this. I don't know what I'm looking at here. All right, okay. So what I'm looking at here is I'm assuming that this is the ship, and these people in contamination suits are, I don't know, maybe they're, I don't know. Don't make any jokes, right? Don't make any jokes. Well, that was 30 seconds of my life wasted. Now, I'm just going to add this in, right? Okay? I'm connecting dots here. This was an Antarctic cruise, right? They were going, you know, around that area. I'm just saying that the Antarctic is a very, very weird place. And, you know, it would be a stretch of the imagination. It would be. It would not be out of the realms of possibility to say that there was, you know, there's some sort of virus in the air, and I don't know, in and around Antarctica. So that is the latest that we have from the hantavirus, guys. Okay, there's the situation is developing. There's lots of, you know, I don't even have a clear number at the moment because it's not clear to me how many people have been infected, how many people have died. What I'm saying right now is because this has a 8-week incubation period. What I'm saying is, you know, I'm the places that this ship has stopped. The cat is clearly already out the bag, right? Because it stopped off a lot of places. So you could have someone from Argentina flying to America. You could have someone from South Georgia flying back to Britain. You could have someone from Gulf Islands flying to Africa. You see what I mean? I think this is already out the bag. I do. Right, let me jump onto the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, that's not the chat. Right. Slim is saying, good evening, all. It's a pleasure to see so many wonderful people in one spot. Listen, when we're all in the lockdown, this is all we're going to have, right? Trevor Pritchard is saying 8 weeks. Yes, that's what I'll share these videos again with you guys. So that's what Sky News are telling us. And that's what I found as well when I was searching online, that there is an 8-week incubation period. Oh, hang on. Have I got that video? Right, let me share this. Sorry, I've got one more video to share with you. Yeah, this is the video I was
Health
looking for.
officials have boarded the ship where 3 passengers have died after a suspected hantavirus outbreak, and they think that there may be human-to-human transmission.
Boom! That's the key word right there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we think there may be human, and then they're giving you enough information for people to put this together themselves. So human-to-human transmission now. That's what they're saying. It's not me. It says it on the screen, Sky News. I'm caveating that.
Transmission of the disease. Here's everything you need to know. The MV Hondius left Argentina around the 1st of April on a cruise across the Atlantic. There are around 150 people on board. But since the ship set sail, 3 passengers have died from suspected hantavirus, a disease spread through rodent droppings and then breathed in through the air. Another very sick passenger had to be airlifted to South Africa for emergency care. Hantavirus starts like flu and can develop to attack the lungs and kidneys, leading to organ failure. Now,
this flu-like symptoms, right?
Personnel from the World Health Organization have boarded the ship, and they say they'll evacuate 2 other passengers who are still very sick.
We do believe that there may be some human-to-human transmission that's happening among.
Can you see how they're getting this? How they're getting this message out there now? You know, they're getting this message out there with human-to-human transmission. You know, if you look where this boat's been, it's been plenty of places. You know, this boat is has been. I did that myself, guys. I did that infographic myself. I did that. This is all my own work. I do this for you guys. I don't just regurgitate things that other people are saying. I do my own stuff, right? But look at all the places, right, that this boat has stopped. So these are all places that people could have got off. And if there is human-to-human transmission, then obviously in all these places, they could have infected other people. With there being an 8-week incubation period, those people are moving, and, you know, the situation's just... I think we're going to know a lot more very soon.
The really close contacts, the husband.
Sorry.
Have boarded the ship, and they say they'll evacuate 2 other passengers who are still very sick.
We do believe that there may be some human-to-human transmission that's happening among the really close contacts, the husband and wife, people who've shared cabins, etc. So again, our assumption is that has happened.
Now this...
Yeah, so the World Health Organization are now assuming that there is human-to-human transmission, which should perk everyone up in their chair, right? Especially with that 8-week incubation period.
This would be very rare, and it explains why passengers and crew have been given full personal protective equipment. The ship is still off the coast of Cape Verde, and health officials want it to sail to the Canary Islands to disembark everyone on board. But the Spanish Ministry of Health says no decision has yet been taken on which port the ship will finally be able to dock.
Like, you're not going to let that ship dock, right? Like, honestly, I don't care. Look, I'm with you guys, right? I'm absolutely with you guys. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I'm with you guys. However, right, if there is a chance, right, that you've got all this bad stuff on this boat, you'd be like, yeah, we're not going to let them off for like what's the incubation period? 8 weeks. Yeah, I want them staying on there for 9 weeks. I do. That's what I want, guys. You know, keep them on there for 9 weeks, and then anyone that's still okay, let them off. Anyone that's poorly, you know, or maybe worse, you know. Does that not make sense? Seriously, does that not make sense? Think about the risk versus reward here. Literally, think about the risk versus reward and the carnage that this could cause. Right, let me jump on the chat. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not done so and you're on, like Lisa Jane is saying, please hit those buttons. Your fantastic fingers. The like, comment, subscribe. That like button really helps me out as well. All those buttons that help me out, guys. Austin Barrett is saying, oh no, for F's sake, I didn't fall for the first time. You can't catch a virus, Raven. You have had that jab that killed people, I know. You can't catch a virus. Can you? I think you can, right? I'm pretty sure you can. Can you catch a virus? Yeah, you can catch a virus from other people or contaminated surfaces. Viruses spread through respiratory droplets, cough, sneezes, close contact with an infected person, or touching contaminated objects, then touching your nose, eyes, or mouth. Yeah, you can absolutely catch viruses. I don't. Austin Barrett, I don't know where you're getting that information from. Maybe you've been to a different medical school to me. Googleanos is saying hantavirus, human-to-human transmission considered rare. World Organization states that the risk of transmission to a large population is low. I agree. That's what's being said now. But remember, we know that viruses mutate, right? We know that viruses mutate. We know that it's a different strain. We know all this stuff, right? Because we've lived through this before. So what I'm saying is because of the media coverage that this is having and the type of media coverage that this is having and the airtime that this is having, I'm saying that I do think there's a strong possibility that this actually happens. Rod is saying exactly like they kicked off COVID fear-mongering with the Diamond Princess. What was the Diamond Princess? Was that a ship? I don't know. But yeah, I agree. Right, jumping to the bottom. There's loads of comments. Applejack's Gaming is saying, yes, but the girl was sold to us already. What? I think you're talking about a dog or something. I don't know. Laraza for Trump is saying there wasn't a real public health emergency during the coup. Man-made election infection or natural. It was always a nothing burger with a bun made of propaganda and lies. I'd love a bun made of propaganda. I would. What does a bun taste? Propaganda and lies taste like? James is saying, Sean, you cannot catch a virus, so people can catch the what? I don't know. Listen, guys, I'll be honest with you, right? I'm not a virus guy. I'm not a medical guy. All I'm doing is giving you the information that I'm getting here, right? Can you catch a virus from other people? Sorry. Right. Can you guys see that? yes, you can catch a virus from other people, animals, or contaminated surfaces. So, like, and I'm pretty sure you can catch viruses as well. Listen, guys, if it's a general consensus that you can't catch viruses, how do you get them? Like, are you born with them? Doesn't make sense, guys. I'm pretty convinced you can catch a virus. I might be wrong. Clarendon is saying viruses are aliens, demons, and AI. Yes, did you read about Rat and Mouse Utopia? Yeah, I did. It was wild. So I think, I can't remember what it was, whether it was Rat or Mouse Utopia. So basically, they got two cohorts of rats or mice. I can't remember which it was. And one of the cohorts of rats or mice, let's just say it was rats. Let's just say it was rats. I don't like rats. One of the cohorts of mice lived in absolute utopia. There was plenty of food for everyone. It was warm. They had straw, water. They had everything they wanted. They started to destroy themselves. It got really, it just turned wild, right? It turned wild. The cohort that was struggling, they had to fight, they had to struggle, they had to live for every breath. They actually thrived and flourished. Ruben is saying the virus has gone viral. Well, apparently you can't catch viruses. Right, what do we think, ladies and gentlemen? Can we catch viruses? I'm pretty sure we can. Googlinos is saying the Welsh Labour leader turns on Starmer. Labour's MPs are also said to be making plans for Keir Starmer's removal from power. He's going nowhere around it. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not changing my mind. I don't think he's going to go, guys. I don't think Keir Starmer's going to go at all. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's going to go, right, at some point. I think, so there is a slight, with Keir Starmer, there's a slight chance, tiny chance, that he will get forced out after this election, which is Thursday, right? 7th. So there is a slight chance, but I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I really don't. I think Keir Starmer on the 8th, so Friday morning, right? He's going to stand there in front of his lectern. I don't even know if he's even real now or whether he's AI, right? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, maybe they could get rid of Keir Starmer and just have him as an AI, right? So you just got like AI Keir Starmer, but like just different people play him. That's coming, right? So I think what's going to happen on Friday morning, I might be wrong, he might stand down. I think he's going to stand up there and he's going to say something to the words of the effect of that. The country has spoken. We hear your message. This Labour government understands we need to go further, faster. We have heard you. We understand. And we're going to get to work. That's what he'll say, something like that. That's what he's going to say. Equally, he could stand up and say, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to tap out. I don't think he will. Austin is saying, I don't care what it says. Dr. Vernon Coleman disagrees. Right, look, guys, I don't want to if this was an argument, right, about tactics, guns, bombs, and trains, and planes, and automobiles, and, I would be all over this, but the reality is I don't know enough about this subject matter, guys. I really don't. I'm not claiming to know like everything about this subject matter. But what I am claiming to say is, well, look, guys, whether you can catch a virus or not, I just saying it sounds odd, but whatever. Whether we can catch a virus or not, this is coming, right? That's what I think anyway. And I've given you guys the reasons why I think it's coming. Right, I'm jumping to the bottom again. Googleinos is saying no one's going to listen to those lies. Googleinos, I agree. I absolutely agree Nobody's going to listen to those lies. Nobody's going to believe him, but he's still going to be in power. That's the reality. And this all boils down to what I always say. We have no legal framework to oppose a tyrannical government, right? We don't. Arian Racing with a beautiful picture is saying, no, okay, I don't know what that is. So Cindy Archer's, I think Cindy Archer is subliminally suggesting that Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves may indeed be one of the same person. Right, listen, you guys that are on X, I'm going to close you guys down in a couple of minutes, okay? If you've not done so and you're on X, please hit those buttons, like, comment. I don't even know what buttons you hit on X. I think they're up here somewhere. Really helps me out when you guys do that. Also, I'll be continuing this live stream over on X and on YouTube, sorry. And you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to jump over on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven One on YouTube as well, and I think the link's in the bio. Emma Jane is saying Starmer needs to keep his place as he hasn't. His selective role. I absolutely agree. I think Keir Starmer's role is to bring in mobilization. That's what I think Keir Starmer's role is. I think he will be there until the point of mobilization. And then once that's done, once that's done, he's just going to be, they don't need him anymore, right? So, and think about it, right? Everybody will blame Keir Starmer for mobilizing, the conscripts, right? The conscripts. Everybody will blame Keir Starmer. It doesn't make sense to have him on anymore. So they're going to get rid of him. Laraza for Trump. Listen, we've got some controversial views on this live stream this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Laraza for Trump is saying, sure, we can catch viruses, but when you take C, D, and Z and have ivermectin on hand, you don't get sick like normies who do not take advantage of those. So Laraza for Trump is saying, no, actually, you can catch a virus. I think you can as well. I do. I think you can. Right, I'm jumping down to the bottom. There's so many comments. Funny how Boris and Trump, both hated targets of the globalists, got spiked with COVID. I never saw any other leaders copy anyway. Did Trump get it? I can't remember Trump getting it. April Lee is saying, yes, Sean, you can catch a virus. Look, that's what I think as well, right? I'm pretty sure you can catch a virus, but there's lots of people. There's lots of people on the chat who are saying, no, you can't catch a virus. And look, I'm not a subject matter expert in this. I'll tell you what I think, but I'm not going to argue with somebody that when I don't know, right? Oh, yeah, it's almost right. I think the jury is out now. I think the majority of people who are on this chat are saying you can catch viruses, but the body suppresses some types, which you never actually fully get rid of depending on the virus. There's a lot of information on here, guys. A lot of information. Right, let me refresh this because I know this hantavirus is there's a lot of information coming out, and this is what you'll find, right? This is what I believe you'll find. As things move forwards, there'll be more information come out quicker and faster, and there'll be like a direction of travel. Think about it. This already happened. Right there. Okay, so there's a new update. I've not read it yet. Before I get you guys this update, I'm going to turn you guys off on X. So let's turn you. Listen, I love you guys on X. I do. I love you guys on X. You're fantastic. But no, there's no but. You are fantastic if you're watching on X. I'd love you to come over to YouTube. If you don't, that's fine. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10, and I bid you good evening on X. Right there. Right. So let me get this new update. There's literally just been a new update. Let me So there's live updates. Let me I've not read this. Let me share this. Okay, so live updates. Oh, guys, I promise you, guys, can you see that? Are you affected? Get in touch. So they're going to want people now with, this is what I'm reading into this anyway. They're going to want people who may be presenting symptoms to phone Sky News. Oh, hang on. There's a new, right. There's a new video. Give me a second. Right. Give me a second because there might be ads.
A spectacular 42-night cruise.
Okay, it's sold as an Antarctic Odyssey. Again, look, guys, I'm not going to go aliens on you, but I have been tracking this UFO, UAP phenomena thing. Do you think the two could be connected? I think it's you know, I am clutching at straws, and I get that, right? But we do have a very peculiar UFO, UAP thing happening, right? Where the president of the United States is saying he's going to release information about the Hunter UFOs. We all know that Antarctica is very strange and weird. Do you think these two are connected? I'm not getting any vibes that they are connected, but as soon as I see some, I will put that. I'll present that.
From the Antarctic Circle, crossing the equator to the coast of West Africa. A once-in-a-lifetime dream.
For going in the ice and spotting wildlife like whales, this is a perfect ship.
The ship's chef posted this picture on the night before they set sail.
Oh, hang on a minute. Let me make this big. Right, what's going on here? Right. Who is it? It's like, can you imagine being on that seriously, right? Can you imagine being on that ship? Terrified.
But Kabir Marias, on the bottom right, and his shipmates on board the MV Hondias did not know that their dream would turn into a nightmare. Just 10 days into their cruise, a passenger died, others fell critically ill, and the ship is now at the center of a suspected hantavirus outbreak.
Sorry. Let me just throw this out there, right? How many videos have been released about hantavirus and the ship in the last hour? Think about it. Think about the think about the peripherals, right? Think about how much information, data, media updates are being there's no real new information at this point, right? Think about how many these videos take time, money, effort, and resources to do, right? You have to take Andy off editing because he was doing right. Andy, you need to get over here. You need to edit this. You need to put a voiceover. You're pulling people off other jobs.
The plan now is for the ship to continue on to the Canary Islands. We're working with Spanish.
Right. I don't think it is because the governor, the president of the Canary Islands, has been speaking after a technical meeting about the cruise ship MV Honduras off Cape Verde. Ferdinando Clavio backs the evacuation of the ship by air, and he said this position is in line with what with the Spanish health ministry. The current plan is for a specifically equipped plane to airlift the two people who are in the Netherlands, something we are told about in a previous post. So the president is saying it's absurd to bring this, to bring this ship to the Canary Islands, and he's right. Look, let's just look, guys. I'll be honest with you. I don't know whether this is real, whether this is fake, whether this is aliens, whether anything exists. Right? Could all be AI. It is absolutely right. Imagine this, right? You've got like a deadly virus that could be transmissible between humans and humans. Are you really going to take that risk? If this was the military, you would just say, right, okay, what's the incubation period? 8 weeks. Maximum incubation period, 8 weeks. Right, okay. Suck it up, sweet cheeks. You're on there for 3 months. That's what the military would do. And then you know then. Nobody's gone off. That's how you do a real quarantine, all right? But they'll probably let them off and, have a track and trace app and, make sure you tell everybody that you come in contact with. Digital Anarchy is saying a British crew member in need of urgent medical care is preparing to be, I think he's already gone actually, medically evacuated from the cruise ship at the heart of the suspected hantavirus outbreak. Cosmic 144 is saying, don't come home to Britain. Well, I think it's already out the bag. I really do, guys. I think this hantavirus is absolutely already out the bag. Duchess with what a beautiful D. What a beautiful D, Duchess, is saying they were drinking out of cans. Yes, they were. Wells disease is called from drinking out contaminated cans in pubs. The rats run on top of them. And yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. They do. So look, guys, these are like, I was talking about this earlier on the live stream. And what I was saying earlier on in the live stream is, have you guys hit that like button yet? Seriously, have you hit that like button? I mean, it's just a little finger for you. And it means so much to me, guys. I love it when you hit that. I love it when you finger that button, guys. It gets me so giddy. It really does. So what I was talking about earlier was non-battlefield. And look, guys, I always go back to things I know about, right? Non-battlefield casualties. It's a huge thing. So you go to war, right? And lots of people get injured, right? But there's a huge, I don't know what it is now, but it was a huge percentage of people. It was a bigger percentage, actually, of people that get injuries in war zones, in conflict zones. They're called non-battlefield casualties. So that is absolutely one of those things. Mice, rats, running over the top of bottles, having a little wee on the caps. Johnny Jenkins comes in, cracks a cold one, and he has a drinks. J. Paul is saying now isn't the best time to be in rehab. It's absolutely not. It's absolutely not. It's not the best. It's not time to be sober, guys. Right now is not the time to be sober. Not a chance. James is saying back in the 70s and 80s, if you had HIV, you die in months. Today, people live for decades. Why? They were injected with an AZT vaccine that could kill an elephant. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. Right, David Dutch. Hello, David Dutch. He's saying the ship's company, HQ, is linked with Erasmus University. A former director there was involved in studies related to vaccine evaluation and animal models. Oh. Well, these are interesting links. That's an interesting link. Do you have his name, David Dutch? I can find this myself, but if you can pass me his name, I'll Google him and I'll share that on the screen. Memphistalgia is saying the rats also get into the pick and mix at the range and Wilco's. Oh man. Oh god, I tell the kids never to go in them pick and mixers. Honestly, never go in them pick and mixers. Amanda Bullen is saying, thanks, I'm currently drinking out of a can of Dr. Pepper. Clean the rim. Clean the rim. It's always good to have a clean rim, guys. You don't want to do it. Nobody wants a dirty rim, right? Absolutely not. Yeah, exactly. Googling us is saying the RAF's robot fighter jets will be operational sooner than expected. Yeah, drone warfare, the days of fast jets are pretty much over. I don't even think these F-35s fly with the pilot. Right, guys, there's loads of comments. I'm jumping to the bottom. Brad Fix with a picture of like, is that like a Viking on a shield? I think Brad Fix has got a picture of like a man, a Viking with a shield or something. Good evening, Sean. I went to hospital after nearly losing a finger. Came out with a cough and it developed into a virus. Coincidence or something else makes you think. So when you go to hospitals, right? When you go to hospitals, it's full of sick people. Absolutely full of sick people. So there's a lot of like viruses and stuff in the air. I've got a friend. I've not spoken to him for 20 years, so maybe not a friend anymore. I've got a friend who was in the army, and we're doing a parachute jump, right? So like, it was a nighttime jump. So we jumped out in the middle of the night, and I don't know what time it was actually. It was dark. So we parachuted out, landed, and what happens is, when it's a mass drop, you all have to go to your respective company sergeant major. So wherever the sergeant major lands, everybody has to make their way to the sergeant major. I remember when this guy, he got in there, and so he walked off the drop zone, and he said he said his name, rank, and number, and he said, and I think I've broken my collarbone. So one of the medics came over, and he's like, Jesus Christ, yeah, you broke your collarbone. Anyway, so he got Casevac, right? He went to get his collarbone reset because it's like, I don't know, it's an operation or something. When he woke up, he had no foreskin. So anyway, yeah, so some strange things happen. Rod Panhard is saying there was always people who would use the "what's your medical qualifications" argument, which I always reply, I know not to eat yellow snow, and having zero qualifications in urology. Googleinos is saying Muslim voters are deserting the Labour Party, with 6 in 10 prepared to vote for a pro-Gaza independent candidate or the Green Party. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Imagine waking. Oh, listen, the live stream on when we do the live stream on Friday morning, it's going to be absolutely bonkers. Seeing the fallout, it's going to be crazy. The Labour Party are going to get decimated, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because they've still got the members of Parliament, and this dastardly plan is going to be hatched by 2029, right? Well, it's going to be in full swing, so it's not going to matter. So Keir Starmer will have served his purpose. Jeff is saying, coincidence is that I studied histology, read Grey's Anatomy and mastered it and knew everything, but nobody listened, and it was frustrating. Right, this is what I mean, right, with stuff online. Look, guys, I'll never claim to be an expert in something I don't know. This is the problem, right? So going back to, I know I've said this like 6 times today. So when I was in Ukraine I can't remember what year it was, we was watching the tanks come over the border, right over the Russian border, like watch it, like with my own eyes. I was looking at these. And the Ukrainians I was with were like filming this on their phones, and they were like, uploading that onto, there was like a Facebook, I can't remember what it was called. There was like a Facebook group where people were, uploading pictures. And the amount of debunkers that were on there saying that it's not real, it's fake, they were just like, and some of the arguments were really convincing. And if I wasn't sat there watching this in real time, I would have probably believed the debunkers, right? So yes, I know exactly what you mean, Fred. You can be the subject matter expert. You can be the world's most leading authority. But if nobody listens to you, 2017, right? I pitched to the government about drones, automation, aircraft carriers, naval systems. Turns out they didn't want them. guess what? They want them now, right? The MOD has no system to detect civilian harm caused by the military. They absolutely do. Well, it depends what you mean by civilian harm, but they absolutely do. There's the Northern Irish used to do this all the time. Maybe they've changed it. I don't know. Templar Matt is saying, I'm cleaning my room for you, Sean. David is saying, show up for a broken collarbone and get your foreskin chopped off. Sounds like a terrible event. Yeah. I had shin splints once, right? I had shin splints, and they have to they had to inject my, I don't know whether, do you know what? Thinking about it now, I'm thinking, why did they even have to do that? They had to inject me with something that they put me on. Did they put me unconscious? No, sorry, that's definitely not what happened. When I was in the army, I went in for an operation. I'm not going to tell you where it was. It's a bit embarrassing. Anyway, so I was sat there, right? And I can remember my mate who'd had his foreskin removed. So I got a marker pen. There's a whiteboard, and I just wrote on my arms and legs, do not remove, in capital letters, do not remove. I did an arrow, do not remove, arrow, and wrote it on my legs, right? So I'm sat there in one, those dressing gowns, right? Those dressing gowns in the wheelchair. So I'm sat there a bit nervous because I've never had anesthetic. I'd never had anesthetic before, and I would never have it again. And this guy gets wheeled in, and he's at the side of me. I'm like, all right, mate. He's like, yeah, all right, yeah. Anyway, talking. And he looked at my arms, and I thought, oh, God. I thought, right, I can't let him know that I ripped these on myself, right? Because I was feeling a little bit nervous. So I said to him, I said, yeah, the nurse wrote it on because they've had some limbs removed by accident, and it's a new procedure now. He was like, Jesus. I said, yeah. Anyway, right? So the nurse came and took him away before me. And the last thing I heard him say as he was walking down like the aisle is like, are you writing do not remove on my limbs? He must have been terrified. Right. Loads of comments, guys. Jump into the bottom. David is saying, sorry, I couldn't get over the fact that he said someone went to the doctor for a broken collarbone. Yes, that absolutely happened, guys. 100%. 100% that happened. One of my mates, he did a parachute jump, broke his collarbone. I think it was this one. He got into the DZ. He said, Corporal so-and-so, gave him his army number. And then the medics came, just took him, saw him 2 weeks later. He was from London. He's like, fucking hell, Sean. I was like, what's happened, mate? He goes, well, I went in for my collarbone. I'm like, yeah. He goes, came out, I ain't got a foreskin. I'm like, what? He's like, no, it's gone, mate. It's gone. Don't know where it went. I'm like, what? He's like, no, I went in for my collarbone reset. I said, the reset. He's like, yeah, it's brilliant. You've got no foreskin. No, it's gone. I said, you complain? He's like, nah, I can't be bothered. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. But that definitely happened. Hang on a minute. Google Enos has got some reports. The MOD also does not maintain a central register of civilian harm. You see, I'm pretty sure they do. Okay, right. So when I was in the military, and this was going back, a while, you had to carry these like little books. What was it? I can't remember what it was called, but everybody used to have to carry this book. And if there was a complaint or you damaged something or there was harm caused to the local civilians, you had to write it down. You had to note it. You had to sign it. You had to give them a copy. You had to keep a copy, and you had to hand a copy in as well. So it was in triplicate. They definitely did. I don't know if that's still a system. It probably isn't from what you're saying. Its existing mitigation is considered effective. Right, I can't read most of these comments. You guys are going wild. You guys are going crazy. Four Paws are saying, great show. We have 100 likes. Do you think we can get more? I think you guys can hit that like button a little bit more. Hang on a minute. I'm really interested about this. Yes, a May 2020, so now, study commissioned by UK Ministry of Defence confirmed it lacks a systematic, central or dedicated system to track or investigate civilian harmed by its military action. Okay. I mean, maybe. I mean, look, if that's what he's saying, that's what he's saying. I'm not going to argue with it, but I know for a fact that, when I was operating, we used to have to carry these little books. Clarendon is saying, best story so far, Sean, the collarbone and foreskin saga. So the guy actually went on and he did a medical course, and he was actually one of the medics after that. Okay, so you'll be able to tell. Okay, so if you guys use my tactical questioning against me, right? If you guys use my tactical questioning against me, right? Ask me in a couple of live streams the same thing, and I'll give you the same answer, right? I'll recite it exactly the same because it really happened, right? Right, listen, we are going massively off track here. We've gone massively off track. Okay, let's come back. Let's get back to business, ladies and gentlemen, because there has been, in fact, let me see if there's any updates. There has been an outbreak of something called hantavirus. Now, I believe this is going to get, because of various metrics, not least the amount of media that's been released by the BBC, by all your mainstream media outlets right now are absolutely pumping this. The World Health Organization themselves are saying that they are assuming that this has now spread between from humans to humans. Oh, hang on. No. So this is now not confirmed, that the World Health Organization are now claiming that this has spread from human to human. Now, there is a 8 week, there's an 8-week incubation period on this hantavirus. So regardless whether they keep these people in quarantine, they've been to a lot of places, right? This is all the places they've been since they set sail. And again, they could have been spreading the hantavirus before they even set sail. So they set sail from Argentina on the 1st of April. So they could have either been infected in Argentina. If they were infected in Argentina, how, who by, and how many other people have they infected? You see where we're going with this? If it was people who flew to Argentina, exact same question. How many other people have they infected, if any? They stopped off at South Georgia on the 5th of April. They could have done the same there. They stopped off at, they stayed there for 3 days, mind. It's 3 days in South Georgia, which is in the Antarctic. They stopped off in Gough Island for 1 day on the 13th of April. Then they stopped off in Tristan da Cunha, I think on the 15th or 14th, I think, of April. They then went on the 22nd of April. They stopped at St. Helena for 2.5 days. They then went to Ascension Island for 1 day, and then they are now anchored off the coast of Cape Verde. So there's a lot of places there, like in that little itinerary, there's a lot of places that they could have got off, infected other people, been infected themselves. And then those people that infected them have flown to another country. They've infected other people because there's an 8-week incubation period. I think the cat, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, is already out the bag with this one. I do. And somebody said the other day that there was a World Health Organization exercise a couple of days ago, talking about the same thing, rehearsing the same thing. David, he said it sounds like a super nice vacation. It does. It does. I'd love to go to the Antarctica, guys. I would. It's like I would absolutely love to charter one of those, you know, those explorer yachts, like the real yachts with a steel hull, you know, and go down there and have like you know, have like an expedition down there. Googleinos is saying, right, okay, now I understand. Okay. So Googleinos is saying, yeah, there's no centralized data. So basically they have the data in scattered boxes, but no system to track it globally or learn from it. Yeah, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense, actually. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense because, you know, when you're operating on the ground, you just hand that in, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Yes, that's what it was. JSP 3188. No, yeah, no, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't that. It was definitely a JSP though. It was definitely a JSP form. I don't know which one. It wasn't the aid memoir. The aid so JSP 81381, the tactical, it's actually called the tactical aid memoir. Do you know what? I think I've got one of those in the house. I do. I think I've got one of them in the house. Right, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I am going to close this down now. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10, as I always am, ladies and gentlemen, after the gym. Let's keep an eye on this one, right? Because I do think this is gonna be the next thing. I do. Obviously, human-to-human transmission and the amount of media attention that they're giving it. When you see all these videos, I'm not going to share them with you. I'm not going to play them. When you see all these videos that are being done, hang on. You know, these videos take time, money, effort, resources to do. So I would speculate that people are pumping money into this now. They've got all these little infographics. Look, I've even got infographics. I've even got my own little infographics to share with you guys, haven't I? Raven did his own infographics. I did my own little infographics. Anyway, listen, I am going to close this. You guys are fantastic. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. And I bid you all good evening. And if you've not done so, can you please hit that like, comment, subscribe, share, bell notification, guys, because I really do appreciate each and every one of you followers. And bring a friend in the morning.